To a certain degree, F1 fans were robbed of seeing a rematch between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton because of just how much of a piece of shit Mercedes W13 was during the early parts of the season. But a late season push by the Silver Arrows has given many fans hope for another eventful season next year, a la 2021. So, what has Mercedes figured out these last few races this season? And just how painful was it for Lewis to not be able to get his revenge on Max? Well, let's talk about it. But before we do, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on our latest uploads. Now that's out of the way, let's get started. It feels like yesterday when we were all screaming at our TVs when Max Verstappen overtook Lewis Hamilton in the last lap of the last race of the season in 2021. A season that was filled with drama and controversy that Lewis has previously said was traumatic for him to some extent. And when the 2022 season arrived, Red Bull ran away with the title, excluding the races in Bahrain and Australia, which led to a rather boring season, to say the least. And with a season of dominance and back-to-back titles, many fans expect that this is the start of Red Bull's reign over its competitors. But to former two-time F1 world champion Mika Hakkinen, this notion is hard to believe, as he thinks Mercedes won't be making the same mistakes twice, and that the team will undoubtedly bring a better car to the track next season. He, Verstappen, has done a great job with a great team and great engineers, the Finn told Sky Sports. Regulations of Formula One are different now than it used to be in my time, or used to be 3 or 4 years ago. That gives a lot of opportunities to other teams for success. I don't think it is so straightforward that he will continue to dominate, even as he's a great driver. I am sure we will see some surprises. But a chance for revenge is still yet to be seen. But what is a fact right now is that Max has dominated Lewis all season long. And in a recent interview with Channel 4, Lewis would be asked whether it bothers him seeing Max succeed this season. The 7-time world champion would reply with, "It was definitely not easy. I think it's more the big ugly number 1, as big as you can put it on the car." Nah, I'm kidding. I'm not as fazed as much as people like to think. They will say things to do things looking for a reaction, but I really just am chill. I don't really care about those things. Of course, I'd have loved to have been at the forefront, fighting and battling with them, but it's been an interesting journey seeing what they've been going through. It's been interesting. As I mentioned earlier, many fans, i.e. Mercedes fans, were hoping for Lewis to get a crack at Max this season, especially because of just how controversial things ended in Abu Dhabi 2021. But as we've seen all season long, Mercedes did not have the pace to do so. But even so, Lewis would give thanks to his and the team's fans' support all season, even though they weren't in the fight for the title. I was definitely not expecting what would come after in terms of the amazing support from fans of the sport, but particularly my fans, the general love I've experienced throughout the year, which I think has got me through the year. With the challenge of coming back in, wanting to fight back and not being able to fight back with the car we've had, we've experienced more love and affection than ever before. Historically in F1, a back-to-back title win more often than not is the start of a dynasty in F1. This is a probability that Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff is perfectly aware of, as they are now on the opposite side of the equation, with 2 disappointing seasons in a row. Which why the Austrian that the team is making it a priority to not fall into a longer slump. Of course, we are talking about it. Wolff told the media, including PlanetF1.com, "We are analyzing what were the reasons in the past that teams that dominated over an era suddenly lost performance. You can trace it back pretty well. Changes to the regulation, people leaving, a tire that changed fundamentally. I believe we have things in common and we can trace it back, and I think we want to avoid the mistakes. We got it wrong, but all the other pillars are still in place. We now have to tune the systems and understand." Since the year 2000 came about, 3 teams have dominated F1. First was Ferrari, winning 7 titles from 2000 to 2008. Next was Red Bull, who won 4 in a row from 2010 to 2013. and Mercedes with 8. And every time the baton was passed, the other two teams had to suffer finishing behind. Wolff would say that he personally can pinpoint why both Ferrari and Red Bull's reign had ended. You can see that with Ferrari, to point to an example, Wolff added. They lost the whole top leadership and the key driver. I think that is something where you can trace it back. With Red Bull, it was a fundamental situation that the power unit regulations changed upside down. A no-works deal, basically. So it was fundamental parameters changed. We were looking at that and thinking, we better be careful, he said. We better be careful because the season has gone by in a heartbeat. We can't let that happen, to look back after the next season and the one after, saying, that's bitter. And there you have it, guys. So, will Mercedes have to succumb to Red Bull's dominance yet again next season? Let us know in the comments section below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't.